Season 4, episode 17. What is this called? An accident. Okay, so yeah, I'm really not happy right now because I really wanted Wyatt to be dead. Like the fact that he is alive, I knew he was alive, but like a part of me was hoping that he really died because without Wyatt on the show, I was okay with that because Wyatt is a butthole. Like he doesn't add anything extra to the show. Okay? He is a nuisance and he needs to go away. Okay? I mean, Veronica is evil, but she adds in that like villain type of feel. Wyatt, he's just like a bad person for no reason. Just ugh. Anyways, so I will get to that. But starting off at the beginning, when Veronica was stabbed in her implant. Now, side note, I knew this was an implant the entire time because I mean, I don't have implants, but I would imagine if you stab somebody in their chest and it's just all real, it's skin. You're going to tear through the skin. Like, I'm going to be bleeding a lot. So the fact that she wasn't even bleeding and she can still talk and she's acting normal and she still has like all of her wits in her smart aleck mouth, I'm thinking she has implants. Like, I'm really pissed off about this because I at least wanted her to be in the hospital. I'm thinking all of these negative things. Anyways, so Jeffrey stabs her, looks her dead in her eye, walks out like a G, like, yeah, I did it, and what? So then all of a sudden we see her asking for help, telling them to call 911. So Hannah calls. Hannah is taking her sweet, precious time, which I would have done the same thing because Veronica gets on my nerves, and I could care less if you received the medical attention because you deserved it. Anybody that was in Jeffrey's position would have hit you in the head with a bottle or stabbed you because you kept testing him. Anyways, so next thing you know, she calls. She's going back and forth with the paramedics. She said it's an accident because really Jeffrey doesn't deserve to go to jail because his mother pushed him to that point of anger, and Veronica is yelling in the background, no, it was an accident. Jeffrey stabbed me, and he is 173 pounds. His last name is Harrington. His favorite color is blue. He has a birthmark on his ear, like all of this stuff. And Hannah is just covering up the phone. She's like, they don't need to hear this. So they said, well, ma'am, did you stab her? She said, no, I didn't stab her. Okay, well, ma'am, what's your name? She said, a bystander. And I'm like, Hannah, that was a good one. Anyway, so the paramedics are on their way. Meanwhile, Veronica's still talking stuff, and Hannah is like, look, don't make me push that knife in a little further. Okay, so now we go to the jail where David and Jim are meeting with each other. David is really just paying his respects because he knows that Jim has received the news. Jim is asking to speak to Jennifer, the DA. Solely because he wants to tell Jennifer that it's her fault that his son has died. Okay, well, of course, we know that he's grieving and he wants to point the blame at someone. Now, she may be partially to blame because she gave him access to all of that money. Okay, but David talks sense into him like, dude, this is not a good idea. She's over your case. You can't piss her off right now or you will be in here forever. And so he says, okay, well, can you at least ID him? Go down to the morgue, make sure that's my son and they didn't get the wrong person. Please tell me, like, come back and tell me my son is alive or something. So David says, oh, okay, cool. I will go ID the body. So he goes to Jennifer, the DA's office, and he is telling Jennifer, hey, can you just drop this whole thing? This family has been through enough. You don't have any witnesses anyway if Wyatt is dead. And then she said, no, I am not dropping it. And she said, and speaking of that, what's going on with Maggie Day? What happened with her? David is like, man, you still tripping off of her? She said, well, it's funny that your mistress gets killed on the front step of your wife's home. Wow, that's suspicious. He said, well, there were witnesses around. The police were there. She said, oh, yeah, that's real convenient, huh? We all know that Veronica knows how to make this work in her favor. He said, anyway, we're not talking about that. I don't know what happened, okay? But we're talking about their son. So where's his body at? She said his body is not here. He said, why not? She said, because it's being investigated to rule out homicide. He said, now you know good and well this boy has overdosed. Why are you sending this family through this? She said, what are you talking about? There was foul play in their daughter's death and they got away with that. These people will do anything. They're evil people. And then he said, what? Those are their kids. They love their kids. And that was apparent suicide. And she said, no. Now check this out. So she shows him a picture of the file, the crime scene of Amanda's room. And she shows him that blood is splattered further than normal circumstances of a suicide. So then he says, okay, but they ruled it a suicide. She says, yes, but the original detective ruled it as a homicide. Then a medical examiner who was connected to the family, a friend of the family, came in and ruled it a suicide. That medical examiner has now retired, so we can't ask him questions about the case. Meanwhile, there's a new medical examiner, and he has re-looked at the files, and he has opened up the case again, and we are now investigating that. So we will find the truth, which is why I have to make sure there's no foul play in Wyatt's case. And then, so he says, you know what, whatever. Can you just tell me Wyatt's hotel room and so that I can go and see, so that I can ID him and let Jen know? I at least owe him that much. She says, okay. So she gives it to him. He goes to the hotel room. Now, the detective lets him in. The police officer rolls over Wyatt's body, and David is overcome with like grief because he is like shocked at what he's seeing. And all of a sudden he goes down to actually touch Wyatt just to see if it's real. And he notices that Wyatt's body is warm. He said, he's warm, call the paramedics, he's still alive. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I knew it. I freaking knew it. But I can't say I am happy that they didn't turn Wyatt over and he was just like, because I would have hated that. Okay, we expected that. So the fact that his body was still warm and they have a chance to save him, but it's not 100% guaranteed, I'm kind of okay with that. Okay. Anyway, so now if we go to Jeffrey. Okay, so Jeffrey has fled the scene. He's gone to the hotel. He is flipping out in his head because he's thinking of all these negative thoughts, all the way back to the first time he told his parents that he was gay. And his mom just like attacked him. She was criticizing him. How dare you be homosexual? And he's thinking of Landon saying, I don't trust you. All you people are crazy. And at this point, Jeffrey really does think he's crazy. I mean, you stabbed and killed Quincy, which he was thinking about that. And now you've stabbed your mother. Like, you need plasticware in your house. So then he's also thinking of like Quincy beating him up, just like all of these bad occasions with Wyatt, and Wyatt playing with his heart, and Wyatt saying, I'm not gay, I'll never be gay, all of this stuff. So Jeffrey is thinking, I've hit rock bottom. Nothing but negative things happen to me. I am definitely going to go to jail. I'm not going to get away with this. So he calls Candace, like, I should let her know because she's going to go to jail too because my mom is going to snitch on us. So he calls Candace, tells her what's going on. She doesn't really believe him because she's shocked. But she's like low-key happy, like, wow, I'm proud of you. You stabbed your mom. It's about time. And so he's like, I'm just letting you know. She said, okay, I'll be at the hotel in an hour. He said, I don't have an hour. I will be in handcuffs by then. She said, okay, but I have to take care of something. Look, I'm going to have my friend to get you a room, and nobody will know that you're there. Just stay in that room, and I will be there. Okay, so of course, while he's waiting in the room, he calls Justin, the police officer. Now, Jeffrey makes the #1 mistake, okay? I am not, and have never been, and never will be, a side chick, okay? But because so many of them are portrayed on TV, and unfortunately there are so many side chicks in real life, I know some of their rules. Rule #1, if you are the side chick, side dude, whatever, side piece, you do not call the house. What are you doing? So, of course, Jeffrey calls the house because he's not thinking straight. And Justin is there asleep with his wife. Justin picks up the phone. He said, I can't come right now. He said, well, you have to because I did something really bad. I don't have anybody else to talk to. So Justin comes to the hotel. He said, don't ever call my house again. He said, look, I had to call your house because, wait, am I talking to Justin, the one that put me in I put in handcuffs, or the Justin, the one that puts other people in handcuffs? And he said, look, if I wanted you in jail, I would have already called called and snitched on you. And then he said, okay, point proven. So he tells him what happened. He doesn't know if his mom is dead or alive. And then so Justin makes sure that there's not a warrant out for his arrest. There's not. Okay, so he's off the hook with that. So Jeffrey, at this point, he's like, well, I got some more dirt, I may as well tell you, and it's in Candace's backyard. Okay, meanwhile, Candace gets on the phone with Jeffrey, and she says, Jeffrey, I'm almost at the hotel, and he says, I'm not there. I'm in your backyard with Justin, the police officer. So Candace is flipping out. She's like, what in the world are you doing? Okay, so next thing you know, Candace gets on the phone with Benny. Now, Benny has been staking out all night to see if David Harrington will come to the campaign office. Of course, he didn't because so much mess going on. And so him and Mitch need to come up with some type of plan to get back at David Harrington. So they think, okay, we'll just get him through his son. And I'm thinking, like, Jeffrey is already going through enough. He got a baby on the way by a woman that he, like, hates. He got so much going on. You liable to get stabbed. Like, don't do that. Okay, anyway, so then he decides to just go home. They'll come up with a plan. And so when Candace calls Benny, Candace is calling him to see, hey, can you call mom so that you can find out if Jeffrey actually stabbed his mom and if she's alive or dead. Okay, now, speaking of Veronica, Veronica is still complaining about the paramedics not being there. The paramedics get there, and Catherine looks at Hannah like she's supposed to answer the door. Hannah was looking like, girl, I don't work for you no more. Okay, so Catherine lets them in. Veronica is still being very dramatic, and they're asking her what happened. Of course, she says, no, my son stabbed me. They kept saying, girl, it was an accident. And so then they're like, ma'am, well, you don't really look visibly hurt. I think your implant may have saved it. She said, what are you talking about? I don't have implants. I said, girl, lies. You do, okay? And they said, well, if you did have an implant, then it probably saved your life. Okay, so as we all know, which is why it was like rock hard, but whatever. So they said, ma'am, can you get up and walk out? And then she said, no, I have a knife, a 6-inch knife in my chest. And they said, it's like 1 inch. And the lady pulls it out. And like, it was the funniest moment because Veronica was so dramatic. Okay, so as she walks out the door, Hannah starts cracking up laughing. Catherine doesn't think it's funny because at this point, she still thinks her son is dead. Nothing is funny at this point. So she asks Hannah to leave. Hannah leaves. As she's outside, Benny calls her to try to find out information about what has gone down that night. Of course, she won't tell him anything. She sees a car pulling up and notices it's Jennifer, the DA. And Jennifer is like really, she's really set on talking to Veronica. She needs to talk to her about Wyatt. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, is she coming to tell her that he's still alive, or what is she coming for? So we shall see that in next week's episode. As always, like, comment, and subscribe, and check me